r/AskReddit. What is your most disturbing fun fact? Prairie dog mothers guard their young in a group because if left alone, mothers will eat the competing young so that their children don't have to share as much food. Falcon breeders let birds duck their heads. Many bird species acquire their sexuality through sexual imprinting. They are interested in partners who look similar to their parents. If they are raised by a human instead, they will be sexually attracted to humans, but not their own species. So breeders basically have to have sex with the falcons themselves as they won't reproduce otherwise. A gorilla aggressively masturbates after winning a fight with another gorilla. When a pregnant woman dies, relaxation of muscles and buildup of gases mean the fetus is sometimes expelled from the body a few days after death, sometimes at speed. Did you know that snails have over 10,000 teeth? Men dying while masturbating is more common than you think, usually due to pre-existing heart conditions. Also, orgasm-induced stroke brain hemorrhage is pretty common. Quite a few men will have sex, finish, and then a very short time later have a stroke or a brain bleed. Source: EMT. Seen it a few times. Penguins have long legs tucked into the fur. The location of the serial killer H.H. Holmes' infamous murder castle, located at 63rd and Wallace St. in the Englewood neighborhood of Chicago, is now a US post office. Neurological studies have shown that when a person dies that they may be able to hear what is going on around them for about 6 minutes, the time it takes for the brain to die from lack of oxygen. Female spotted hyenas have a pseudopenis. Yes, they give birth through it. Yes, that's exactly as painful and dangerous as it sounds. Rabbits are designed to eat continuously. They need their body volume and dry roughage daily, or their GI system shuts down. If a rabbit doesn't eat for 12 hours, it's an emergency, and they must be force-fed. At 24 hours they go into GI stasis, and even with intervention they can die. A male blue whale ejaculates round about 10 liters of semen at a time, most of which goes into the sea. As dead bodies decay, they burp or release gases. For this reason, caskets and mausoleums need to be ventilated so that the gas can escape. Male ducks go on rape rampages and impregnate dozens of female ducks. New Jersey is the only state where incest and bestiality are legal. In southern Africa, there is a tradition called the hyena man. Parents hire a special man from their village to have sex with their virgin daughters, ages 10 plus, against their will, as a rite of passage and sexual cleansing. Robert Picton killed 49 women and fed their bodies to pigs, but whatever the pigs didn't eat was sent to a rendering plant outside Vancouver, where makeup ingredients were made. Considering his last kill was suspected to have happened around the year 2000, if you're living along the west coast there's a non-0% chance your lipstick had dead hookers in it. Your cats and dogs will eventually eat some parts of your body that is soft when you die. The dog would first nibble, then bite, then eat out of frustration knowing that its owner is no longer breathing. The cat would wait for a few days until the food runs out. When it doesn't have a choice, it will eat as well. Cats can be picky, and dogs are just emotional. About 2,000 people per year go missing in the USA. A raccoon can fit into a space as small as 13 centimeters, and the human anus can stretch to 15 centimeters. That there could be 2,000 active serial killers roaming the United States and the FBI doesn't know who they are. You have better odds of being brutally murdered in your own home by someone you know than winning the lottery. Odds increase dramatically if you do win the lottery. At about 10 meters of depth in water, the pressure around you compresses you past the point of buoyancy. Once that happens you're not diving anymore, but falling into the water. To return to the surface, you need to climb back to that point before you float naturally to the surface again. Zyklon A gas was invented by a Jewish man. It was originally supposed to be an insecticide, but the Nazis took it and make Zyklon B gas, which is basically the same thing but has no smell. You can get your lower body chopped off and you'll live long enough to see your legs on the other side of the road. Starfish's stomachs extend out and inject to prey dissolving enzymes so that when the prey is soft enough it will be able to be eaten by the starfish. If you were to be killed by having an arrow shot through your eye, The process of your death would be slow enough for you to register what's happening while it's going down. If there was an afterlife, you'd be able to remember exactly how it felt when the arrow pierced your eyeball. Men's nipples can be stimulated to produce milk. Male giraffes will headbutt a female in the bladder until she urinates, then taste the pee to help it determine whether or not the female is ovulating. Bystander CPR is largely ineffective at saving lives. Yes, 45% of people who receive bystander CPR make it to the hospital, but only around 10% live to be discharged. It is the best possible thing to do until more skilled help aid can arrive, but it isn't like it is in Hollywood. But they can't tell you there's such low survival rates because CPR is hard physically and emotionally to do, and saying that's all a waste would prevent people from doing it. CPR does save lives, just not as many as people think. In order to cook a chicken in one slap, you would have to slap it at the speed of about 6,037 meters per second. Some penguins are pedophiles. They steal baby penguins from their mothers and duck them. Edit. So my most upvoted comment is about penguin pedophilia. I took a DNA test like a 23andMe. My dad took one about a few months prior. I didn't tell him. It turned out we shared 29% of our DNA, meaning he wasn't my dad. He has one brother, and I share 25% with his daughter, meaning my uncle is my dad, my cousin is my half-sister. I haven't told anyone in my family. Edit. I won't tell anyone because it would just destroy the family. Additionally, my parents would divorce and my dad would lose everything. Money, house, car. For your information, we had a really hard time after the 2008 financial crash, and my dad would work 6 AM to 10 PM just so we could live a normal life, and carried on until we could buy a house and pay off the mortgage. The chemical that gives Parmesan cheese its smell, butyric acid, is produced by dead bodies, meaning dead bodies smell like Parmesan or Parmesan smells like dead bodies. I think I prefer the former. In 45 states, doctors and medical students are legally allowed to practice pelvic exams on patients who are under anesthesia without being granted explicit consent to do so. A serial killer went on a television game show called The Dating Game and actually won. His prize was a date with a bachelorette. However, she found him to be extremely creepy within minutes of talking to him and called it off. He has been charged in the deaths of 8 people. However, his total victim count may be as high as 100 due to over 1,000 Polaroids of women and children discovered to have been taken by him. The police department could only release 120 of them in the hope of identifying them. The rest were too explicit or counted as child pornography. Edit. If any of you live in Huntington Beach, you pay your respects to Robin Samso at her memorial plaque. She was only 12 years old when Alcala killed her. Male dolphins often engage in gang rape. They will circle around a female and trap her so she can't leave, then take turns raping her until they have enough or she's able to swim away. In the 60s, there was a serial killer in London that horrifically murdered several women, whose corpses were found naked. The press, showing its usual good taste, named the killer Jack the Stripper. Sleep paralysis is sort of contagious. People who have never heard of it sometimes report having it shortly after learning of it. Some species of anglerfish become sex slaves. The male anglerfish finds a female, who's much larger, and bites onto her abdomen, latching on. He then connects to her blood supply, losing his eyes, tongue, stomach, anything not needed for reproduction. Her body supplies him with nutrients and he supplies her with fertilization for her eggs. Basically, he becomes the equivalent of testicles. Even his brain disappears, and the female anglerfish just uses that to keep producing eggs until she dies. He is basically dead the moment he latches on. Orcas are beasts. They flip over sharks, paralyzing the sharks. Then they toss it around as a game before consuming the shark. Just your average game of volleyball for the orcas. Otters can rape female otters and baby seals to death and have been seen to continue raping the corpse for up to a week. In northern Australia, about 20% of the koala population have chlamydia because they pee on each other. Some populations have a 100% infection rate. Aside from that, they also have smooth brains and sleep up to 22 hours a day. Most of them starve to death because they grind their teeth down on poisonous, tough eucalyptus leaves. They are really dumb. If you are a junior, your mother has probably screamed your name during sex. Sharks have 2 penises. Male ducks have a corkscrew-shaped penis because the females essentially have vagina mazes. They are also rapists and necrophiliacs. For the first couple of hours after death you smell like shit because all the rectal muscles relax, allowing all the gases to leak out. Self-defecation and urination can occur as well. Around 80% of human pregnancies actually start out as twins, but one twin is usually absorbed by the other twin or starved by its placenta. Anne Frank actually talked a lot about masturbation in her diaries. The publishers edited it out though. During the suppression of Anabaptists, it was common for them to be executed by drowning, which was often referred to as their third baptism. There are super resistant bacteria which we can't kill with any antibiotics. Catch them and you die. Have fun. A dolphin is more likely to rape your drowning body than it is to save you, and then continue to rape your dead corpse. Once I tried putting my pinky finger in a big pencil sharpener and twisted to see if my finger would get sharp. Spoiler alert, things didn't go nicely. Do you have 2 arms and 2 legs? Congratulations, you're finally above average. Brains smell sweet. Cap'n Crunch's real name is Horatio Magellan Crunch. Snails have 4 a-holes. There was a day when you played with your childhood friends for the very last time and no one knew it. I once ate 2 terrible things as a kid, both within a span of 10 minutes. First I ate drank ink from a gel pen while trying to blow into the refill to make it work in winters, and the second was trying to wash my ink infested mouth with soap, cloth soap. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content. It's free and that's a great price.